Welcome back, sewists. I'm going to be making 4 shirts today in our video. It's one pattern, but I'm going to repeat it multiple times. I showed you a while back on my haul this pattern. It is by Taylor Nova. It's on Etsy. It will be down below. And I talked about how my sister was wanting a little basic shell to wear under things, and this is the pattern we're going to be using for it. One of the reasons I chose it is it has bust line darts, which give it a nice fit. She wanted a V-neck, and it even has a little shoulder dart up at the top. In the back, so it gives some really nice fit. There's a lot of fit options with this. It also swings out a little bit. Her figure type is completely different than mine, where I carry my weight in my behind. She carries hers more in her middle, so our shape is different, and I thought this might be a better shape for her as far as the garment shape. So what I did, I made a mock-up for her. I traced off the pattern and the size I thought she needed, and I went to my stash and I pulled out a piece of scrap of, this is just a broadcloth, and I sewed it up and I took it to her and fitted it on her, and then I wrote all over it the alterations. For instance, where the hem length for the sleeve should be, that I need to bring in at the bottom hem, and that the neckline, it fit really good across the shoulder, in the bust, in all of that, except the shoulder was too long, which is often the case, so I need to bring the shoulder up here, but it was too low in the front. So when we put it on her, it was much too much cleavage, and it really, I thought it was going to be. I thought that's going to be a lot. So how much I need to bring up the neckline, all of that's written all over it, but it actually fit really well across here. The dart was right on target where we want it to be, so I'm super happy about that. So I'm going to take all of this information and I'm going to put it back into the pattern. So I'm going to make another pattern. This one will be called Pattern Sandy. It will be just her fit. And I can make it over and over. And today I am going to make it over and over because I'm going to make 4 of them out of these pretty satins. This also was in my haul. I have pre-washed all of these, so these have been washed and dried. And I noticed when I pulled this blue one, I think, out of the dryer, it has some little marks on it right here in the corner. I think it's from the dryer sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and sew everything up, treat it how I'm going to treat it. I'm going to put that piece, I was going to just layer and cut, but because this one is showing some little marks, I want to make sure and either not get those marks in it or get those like in the back side seam or somewhere where they're not going to show as much, because all of these she's going to wear something over them. So the front needs to be the most perfect because that's what's going to show. She's going to have a jacket or a shirt over all of them otherwise. That's the point of this. So I'm going to check all of my fabrics to make sure they are polyester satins, and I almost didn't put a dryer sheet in there. This has sort of been an issue I have had before where the dryer sheet leaves marks, and sometimes you can just wash it again and they go away. Sometimes they don't, and I also know that because it's polyester, it's going to get staticky, so I was vacillating, and now I'm kind of regretting the whole dryer sheet thing. Though I know she uses dryer sheets. I don't often. I'm looking at all of these now to see if they have any, and then the others have marks. It seems like just the blue one does. I'll lay them all out. But I'm going to go ahead and transfer my alterations that I measured for her on and make a new pattern, and then we'll be back to cut. But first, let me talk to you about the shirt I'm wearing today. I did an anti-haul a while ago, and this was in the anti-haul. It's very cute. It's a Berta. I'll put the little title card up here so you can see what it is, and I'll link it below. It's one of my first videos. Very good beginner pattern, and it's actually really cute. It's just a little snug through here on me. It kind of leaves some lines. If I'd sized up, it would have been fine, and I didn't. But it's actually really cute. It has a little side slit. I made it pretty long. I really like it. So if you're interested in it, I will put it below. I thought I'm going to wear it in the video today. It's pretty much going to be, it's like I'm a news anchor. You see me kind of from the waist up. And I thought I'm going to put it on because it's actually a pretty stinking cute top. So here it is. It's a Berta, I'm almost positive, but now I'm second guessing myself. Anyway, I'm going to go work on my pattern, and I'll be back here in a little bit to cut out. Okay, so I am transferring my alterations from my fitting shell to the new paper pattern. Underneath is the original pattern. So the dart was fine. The shoulder line was fine, but the shoulder was too wide, so I brought it in an inch here. It was too long in the front, so I brought it up in the front, center front, and reshaped it. And then over here on the side, it was a little too wide just at the hem. It was fine up above, so you can see how I've tapered back in. Transferred all my markings. So this is the front. I'm going to do the same for the back. And then once I'm done, I'm going to make new facings. The back facing will be fine, but the front facing is completely different. So I'm going to make a new front facing that matches my new neckline. And I'm also going to double check my sleeve with the shoulder alteration. So here's my facing. I have just laid a piece of tissue on top of the pattern below, traced that neckline, made sure it was wide enough to meet the back facing, added my seam allowances and my important information, and now I have a front facing that matches exactly the new neckline. Okay, so for the back, instead of tracing an entire new piece, because the neckline, the shoulder, everything was fine except I need to bring in this little bit of shoulder here. The dart's good. The length is fine. And then here I also needed to shorten it, or I needed to bring in the side seam by 1 inch. So I total of 2 inches. So you can see how I brought that in. So these are my alterations. I'm going to now be cutting that off, and I don't have to make a new facing for the back because it's stayed the same along the neckline. Checked my sleeve. It still fits even with this inch change. So all is good. We're ready to cut. So here is the sleeve. I went ahead and retraced it because I have a long sleeve over there. It's about 3/4 sleeve. And I wanted to add in the hemline for this. So what I did is I measured down the 4 inches that I wanted it to be on each side and made a mark. And then I folded it up, making sure to keep it straight on that grain line. And I traced off the shape on each side. And then when I fold it back down, I have the shape appropriate for making the hem, added 1 inch for hemline. I may change that, but at least I have plenty in there for it. And now I have a new sleeve. I made sure to put my markings for my fronts, my shoulder, and my back, so I get it lined up again. And we're ready to go. This has 3/8 inch seam allowance. Okay, I have the pattern all ready to go, and I really want to start with this blue one because I have the thread already on the serger. However, as I'm pulling it out, look at this. This is pretty much covered in I don't know what. It looks like a water spot, but I honestly think it might be from the dryer sheet. I'm going to pull out all of the other pieces and look at them, and I'm going to rewash this. So I'm going to look at all of these and try and figure out this water spot or whatever the stain is on this that happened in the pre-shrinking. I'm sure it wasn't there when I bought it, and I have no idea, but I thought it was just in the corner of this blue, but now that I pulled it out, it's the entire piece of the blue. It's just covered in it. So I'm going to re-wash this. It kind of looks oily, which makes me think it might be dryer sheet. I'm going to re-wash this on gentle with less soap. Kind of be careful about my soap, and I'm not going to use a dryer sheet. I'm also not going to put anything else in the washer with it except these other satins and see what happens. I'm going to check all the other satins too. So I may look different. It may be a whole nother day by the time this gets washed and dried. We'll see. See you back here in a minute. After further examination, both of the blues have the spotting and the gray and the peach do not. Don't know why, because they were washed and dried together. So I'm going to go ahead and take both of these down, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out these two. And we'll come back and do blue in a bit, change my threads. Cutting is going to be pretty easy. Let me move the table back a bit. And I might be able to layer and cut. We will see. Oh no, I'm seeing it on this too. Now I'm worried. Nope, there's little spots on this. Only shows in certain light, but it's definitely there. Yep. Okay, I'm going to rewash all 4 pieces. I'll be back in a little bit. Fresh out of the washer and dryer again. And the blue still has staining on it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the camera. Can you see this? It sort of looks like that over this entire bottom half. So I'm going to do my best to get as much as I can at the top part. So I'm going to get the front, maybe the back out of this, and we'll move down. I have more fabric than I need, so hopefully I can get the blue cut out around the flaws. Everything in these look fine. I won't know for sure till I lay them out, but I'm not going to layer and cut. I'm going to cut individually, so I'm going to be here for a bit. All right, this is how I'm going to cut it. I'm going to get my front and my back. There is flaw, or where the fabric is damaged, right here. So if I cut it this way instead of with the hem down here, it misses this portion where it gets worse, and I think we will be okay. It's not going to be perfect. It's also the back, so hopefully we'll see. But this is how I'm going to cut. I have plenty of room to get sleeves and facings and stuff out of this top part where there's no flaw. Down here where it's, I don't know if it's oil. I really feel like it's probably dryer sheet issues. I have had this happen before. It kind of looks like water spotting, but it's actually dryer sheet leaving an oil behind, or something like an oil. It's over this entire, you can even see it shadowing through on the wrong side. So doing our best. We'll cut individually to make sure I don't have any flaws showing through as I go. A little trick when pinning satin is to pin in the seam allowance and not into the garment. Some satins don't heal well where they were pinned, and you end up leaving a little bit of a pinhole. And so if you pin in the seam allowance, it's not a concern. So that's how I pin when working with satin. Also use your best, finest, sharpest pins. Make sure you don't have any little snags. You sure don't want to get a snag or a run in your satin. Now that I have the body of the shirt cut out, and it looks like I didn't get any of that flaw in those pieces, I've taken the end up here and I folded it back on itself. So you can see here's the selvage edge, and I'm going to get the sleeve. Found another little spot, so I'm really watching as I go. There's quite a few right here. So hopefully this little section, sleeve will be spot free, and then I can easily, hopefully, find a few little areas to fold in half and get my 2 little facing pieces, and then the blue will be cut. Okay, I have the blue cut out. I'm moving on to this sort of sea foam color. As I go, I'm marking my darts. Everything I need to do, I'm marking individually because I'm moving the pattern off, so making sure to take care of that. Once I'm completely cut out, I need to cut 4 sets of the facings out of interfacing also. I'm cutting out the last 2, and this time I am going to layer and cut, so I am lining these up, getting them exactly on top of each other on the fold, and then I can layer and cut them out. They do tend to want to fluff up, so I'm really making sure everything's lined up perfectly, and I will make my cutting go faster. I've got 2 cut out. The last 2, whew, it's taken forever. All right, we're going to cut interfacing. I need 4 sets, so what I'm actually doing is using one of my pieces, and I've got a double layer here, so I'm going to use this and cut around it 2 times, so I'll have 4 backs, and then I'm going to use the front, refold this and cut out 4 fronts. And because I'm going to be cutting them open like this and layering it, I can cut a little faster. And the main thing is you want to make sure, because this is soft, that you get it laid out exactly right. When you're working with the fusible interfacing like this, it's like a felted fabric, and it does not have a grain line. So you can manipulate your pattern piece however you need to optimize it and to get it out of there. So I've already got one cut. You can see the shape there, and then I've laid this one here so I can get it in and keep it nice and straight. It does need a little pressing, but not on the interfacing. We'll wait. Okay, friends, this is going to be a 2-part video. We will start back next week with sewing. See you then. I'll see you next week for another fun video.